when the world awoke to a seismic shift in global politics. In the heart of Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the 36-year-old military leader who had seized power in a 2022 coup, stood before a packed press room. The air was thick with anticipation as cameras flashed, capturing his stern expression beneath the iconic red beret that had become a symbol of his authority. His uniform, adorned with a ribbon of honor and a camouflage pattern, stood in stark contrast to the polished image of former U.S. President Donald Trump, whose photograph, taken mid-speech against a backdrop of the American flag, had just been juxtaposed with Traoré's in breaking news alerts worldwide. The roots of this confrontation traced back to early June, when whispers of a clandestine deal began circulating among international intelligence circles. Reports suggested that Trump, leveraging his post-presidency influence, had been negotiating with a consortium of American and European investors to exploit Burkina Faso's vast gold and lithium reserves. These resources, critical to the global tech industry, had become a focal point of economic contention in West Africa. Traoré, who had positioned himself as a fierce advocate for national sovereignty and the welfare of his people, viewed this as an existential threat. Leaked documents revealed plans for a deal that would bypass local governance, funneling profits abroad while leaving Burkina Faso's communities impoverished. The situation escalated on June 18, when a grainy audio recording surfaced on social media, allegedly capturing Trump during a private call with his business partners. His voice, unmistakable with its brash tone, declared, "We'll have that gold flowing to the States before those African leaders can blink. It's a gold mine, literally, and I'm not letting it slip away." The leak, attributed to a whistleblower within the consortium, ignited a firestorm. By midnight on June 19, Traoré had summoned his advisors, and at 12:43 a.m. PKT, he stepped before the world to respond. Flanked by Burkina Faso's national flag and a wall of books symbolizing his commitment to knowledge and governance, Traoré's address was deliberate and commanding. "Mr. Trump," he began, his voice steady despite the late hour, "your attempts to plunder our resources and undermine our sovereignty will not stand. Burkina Faso is not a pawn in your games. We stand united with our neighbors, and we will defend our land with every tool at our disposal." His threat was a strategic masterstroke. He announced the formation of a West African coalition to nationalize mineral wealth, impose trade sanctions on foreign entities violating their autonomy, and seek international support to protect their economic independence. "This is not a warning," he concluded, "it is a promise. Step back, or face the resolve of a united Africa." Across the Atlantic, the reaction was swift. At 2 p.m. EST, 11 p.m. PKT, on June 19, Trump took to a live broadcast from Mar-a-Lago, his red tie a vivid splash against his navy suit. "This Traoré guy, he's a lightweight," Trump scoffed, waving a hand dismissively. "He thinks he can threaten me. I've dealt with tougher than him. We'll see who blinks first." Yet, behind his bravado, his team scrambled to mitigate the fallout. Stock markets in New York and London dipped as investors pulled back from African mining ventures, fearing a broader economic standoff. Social media erupted with #Traoréstans and #HandsOffAfrica, amplifying the young leader's message. The image of the two men, Trump with his confident smirk and Traoré with his resolute stare, became an instant symbol of the clash. In Burkina Faso, citizens gathered in the streets, waving flags and chanting in support of their leader, their resilience fueled by a shared history of overcoming colonial exploitation. In the U.S., Trump's supporters rallied behind his narrative of American economic dominance, while critics accused him of overreach. Meanwhile, diplomats from the United Nations and the African Union convened emergency sessions, urging de-escalation. As the night wore on, the standoff deepened into a battle of wills. Traoré's threat was not merely personal but a stand for a continent's dignity, rooted in love for his people and a generosity of spirit toward their future. Trump's response, however, hinted at an unwillingness to cede his global influence, potentially sparking a prolonged economic and diplomatic struggle. By 1 a.m. PKT, analysts predicted the next 48 hours would be critical, with the potential for sanctions, counter-sanctions, or even a historic summit. In this unfolding drama, the world watched as two figures, one a seasoned political titan, the other a rising defender of sovereignty, faced off. What began as a rumored business deal had transformed into a defining moment, testing the limits of power, resilience, and the quest for justice on the global stage. As the sun rose over Ouagadougou, the outcome remained uncertain, but the legacy of this confrontation was already being written.